Hey, Honors Physics. This is for the handful of students that were out of class just the other day due to track and internship and things like that. So what we did first at the beginning of class is we spent about 15 minutes going over pages 9 through 12, had discussions, had questions about the concepts of moving charge. And here's the new stuff, okay? Let's go to page 17. And here is the first time we're going to do something that is quantitative. We're going to actually talk about moving charges in such a way that we keep track of the exact amount. Now, this page is actually more of a model, and then next page you're going to practice. So let's imagine we have three sources of charge. Now, the trick here is, though, that A has a charge of just plus Q. Really, that just means plus 1 unit of charge. B is equal to 0, and C is equal to 0. That's still charge, that's still an amount, it just may seem a little bit less complicated. So what are we going to do, or how are we going to measure charges? Well, we're going to talk about how to keep track your charges during conduction. And conduction, of course, means contact. So let's see what happens when A comes in contact with B. It could be rather obvious to you, but what we do is we share the charges. But what we have to do first is we have to add up the charges of A and B before they touch. That's step 1. And step 2, we're going to divide it equally. And the reason why we're going to divide it equally is because the objects are the same size. So let's do the quick math. What is the charge of A and what is the charge of B? Well, we have a charge of plus 1 and 0 for a total of plus 1 for the whole group. And then we're going to divide by 2. We're going to share it, right? Isn't division by 2 really sharing? So what's 1 over 2? You get 1/2. Isn't this equal to 1/2 of the original charge? And it's plus still, right? And this one would be 1/2 as well. So A and B are now half, A has lost half its charge and B has gained half a unit of charge. What happened to C? It's still 0. So now C comes along. Well, C had a charge of 0, so let's do the math. Let's add A plus B. So we had 1/2 here, and we had 0 here. Of course, the total is 1/2. And then we have to share it equally, because they're the same size, divide by 2. And all of us know that 1/2 divided by 2 is 1/4. And do you see? That's represented by Q over 4. And B still holds its same charge. So you now separate A and B by a certain distance, and they go back to sitting there by themselves. So it's a really simple process. What are the 2 steps? The 2 steps are add the charges before they touch, and then 2 divide by 2. Couldn't be any simpler, right? So let's do it. Okay, let's go to this sample problem. Now, 3 of the charges, right? There's 3 charges. 2 of them have actual charge, one's neutral. But what are the units? Well, these objects are very small. And micro is not just a symbol used to mean coefficient of friction. It also is a metric prefix that means 1 times 10 to the -6th, or 1/millionth of a unit, right? So milli is 1,000th, centi is 1/100th, and that's the prefix micro. Now, why does it matter? Well, just notice that they're very small, because objects that are like 4, 5, 6 inches in diameter, they are not large enough to hold a lot of charge. But they all have the same prefix, micro, micro, micro. So for ease of calculations, know what we could do? We could just cancel them out, or we could just say, well, that's like -16, that's 0, and that's +10. We'll just bring the units back when we're done. So A touches B. Let's add them up. -16 plus 0 is, of course, -16 divided by 2. And their charges would be -8. Has C touched any other object? Nope. It's still +10. Row 3 is a little silly. It's not really needed. It just says A and B are no longer touching. Well, they have no reason to lose their charge. There's no grounding involved. What would be the symbol for grounding? Well, we'd have to have this shape, right, come into play. But that's not there, right? It doesn't exist. So they all hold their charge. Now in the 4th row, B and C touch. So how easy is it? Take -8 plus 10, or a net of +2, that's the total, divide it by 2, and you get plus 1, and A is still negative 8. And they finish with a charge of negative 8 plus 1 plus 1. But what should we do? We should bring back our units. Negative 8 microcoulombs plus 1 microcoulomb plus 1 microcoulomb. And you might be thinking, that was really simplistic. Yeah, it was. It's not that hard, but it's tracking the charges. You might have to have more complex numbers, but it's about adding and then dividing by 2 when the two objects touch. So let's do a quick check. What's the total charge of all three of them at the end? Negative 8 plus 1 plus 1. I believe that adds up to negative 6 microcoulombs, right? Easy. What was the total charge at the beginning? Negative 16 plus 10. The total was negative 6. This has proven that if you do addition and divide by 2, then the charge will be conserved. So this is really proving conservation of charge. In class, we had everyone do one more page. So try page 19 on your own. Hit pause if you would like. It should be pretty easy to add. Okay, now it's time to come back. Let me zoom in. The final answers, let me see if I remember them. We've got negative 6, negative 3, 1.5. I believe it comes out to be negative 3. Yep, I'm pretty sure. Negative 1.5 and negative 1.5. By the way, they weirdly still add up to negative 6, but at the beginning, they also added up to negative 6. And to be correct, we should put in our microcoulombs. Okay, if you didn't get that as an answer, check in with me, but it's really just adding numbers, dividing by 2. Pretty straightforward, right? So that took us 5 minutes or so in class. Okay, now here's our final skill of the day. This one is a little bit more intensive, but not that hard. So what if we want to start calculating Q when electrons are being moved around by maybe friction or maybe contact or maybe even induction, having to do with gaining and losing electrons. So we're going to be now calculating Q values. Now let's remember that electrons and protons carry the same charge, but in physics, we don't say they carry negative 1, negative plus 1. We say they carry one elementary charge. And the elementary charge is 1.6 times 10 to the 19th. Okay. So how do we apply that to electrons and protons? Well, the first formula basically says that if you want to know the charge of an object, you have to count the number of charges that have moved, and that's n for number, and you multiply it by the elementary charge. So 10 times the elementary charge would be 1.6 times 10 to the negative 18th, right? You may remember how to add and subtract exponents when it comes to multiplying and dividing scientific notation. The second formula is a little more useful. This is actually how an object gains or loses charge. So let's do our first sample problems. Let's take a neutral sphere. Let's make it this color. And it's on an insulating stand, and somehow it has gained how many electrons? 2,000 of them. So if you were in chemistry class, you'd say negative 2,000. But in physics, here's how we do it. We would find the charge by saying you start off with neutral, that's 0 coulombs of charge, but then we are adding, right? And you may notice in this formula, it has a plus or a minus. You don't do both. You pick based on the verb that's in the sentence. If you're gaining charges, let's make that plus. How many? 2,000 times the elementary charge. But what's the elementary charge for an electron? Negative 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th coulombs. Okay, so adding 0 really does nothing, but now we have to multiply. And it was one or two very sharp people in class remembered that you can take scientific notation, and you can take 2,000 and turn it back into scientific notation. So essentially what we're doing is we're going to multiply 2 times negative 1.6, or negative 3.2, and then we're going to add our exponents of our scientific notation to get our final answer. So negative 19 plus 3, oops, I miswrote that. Let me just erase that right there, is times 10 to the negative 16th power. And the final unit is coulombs. If you'd rather do it on your calculator, by all means, faster probably. You don't have to convert. But if you're a person who doesn't mind that process, do it your way. Okay, let's go to number 2. What if a neutral sphere loses 3,000 electrons? So now the sphere is losing the electrons. Well, we know your gut feeling should say, well, the final answer is going to be positive. Well, here's how we'd set it up. Q final equals Q initial minus N times E. The Q initial is still 0 minus 3,000 sorry, had a alert pop up and it stopped my recording, which is not good form. Sorry about that, guys. But the charge of an electron is still 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19th coulombs, okay? So times. And again, you can do it any way you want. You can do it on your calculator. And do you notice, however, there's 2 negative signs. So you're going to end up with a positive 4.8 times 10 to the negative 16th coulombs, okay? And there's my Q final. Do they get any harder than that? Yeah, sometimes there will be a Q initial. And I think the only other trick, and we're going to jump to number 5, is that sometimes N is a very large number. Losing 3,000 electrons is almost insignificant. Notice how small the charge is. But if you lose a lot of electrons, well, then we'll get an actual meaningful charge, right? So here's a case where we have a Q initial. We have an N. We know the elementary charge is negative 1.6 times 10 to the 19th coulombs. And you would set up a Q final equals Q initial. And it says it's losing electrons, so remember to use a negative sign. N times E. And I will gladly hand you an answer sheet in class so you can check all of page, I think this is page 20. Why did we skip number 3? Number 3 is actually tricky easy or kind of more subtle. So what if you don't have a gain or loss? What if you just know that the delta Q already happened? And the delta Q is equal to negative 3 times 10 to the negative 16th coulombs. Oh, it's negative, so there must be extra electrons. But the question is, how many? Oh, that's easy. We don't need to use the Q final, Q initial equation. All we need to use is delta Q equals N times E, capital N times E. And we've got negative 3 times 10 to the negative 6th divided by the elementary charge, negative 1.9. Oops, negative 1.6. Slow down, Hausman. Times 10 to the 19th. Those are both coulombs, and notice they're going to cancel out. Sorry about that. I apparently switched from capital N to lowercase n. They're used interchangeably. And that time, we're going to have to subtract our exponents. So you're going to get a very, very large number, 3 over 1.6. I'm going to do that out on my calculator. 3 divided by 1.6 gives you 1.8. Here's my N value. Then I have to remember to subtract my exponents, negative 6 minus a negative 19, which really means plus. So we've got negative 6 plus 19, or 13th power. So told you it was a really big number of charges in order to have a significant charge like negative 3 times 10 to the negative 6th. Hope that helps you get started. And again, please finish that whole page. And all we did was kind of show me as you made progress. And of course, I'll give you an answer key in class.